He looked at my name tag, then at my shoes, and laughed. Not a polite laugh, the kind of laugh that tells you exactly where you stand in someone's world. Somewhere between the dirt on his custom Italian loafers and absolutely nothing. Seo Min-jun, the most dangerous man in Houston, head of the Korean syndicate that controlled everything from the port of Houston to the clubs in Midtown, worth more money than I'd see in 10 lifetimes. And right now, he was looking at me like I was entertainment. "Water for the table," he said to his men in Korean, not bothering to address me directly. "And tell the pretty black girl to smile more. In my country, servants know how to show respect." His men laughed. 4 of them, all in suits that cost more than my rent. One of them, sharp eyes, dragon watch on his wrist, leaned back and added, "Maybe she'd work harder if she wasn't wearing shoes from a dumpster." More laughter. My face stayed neutral. 11 months I'd been working at Hanok Seoul. 11 months of double shifts, aching feet, and sending every spare dollar to my mother's treatment fund. MD Anderson wanted $183,000 for the experimental immunotherapy. Insurance denied the claim 3 times, said it was not medically necessary, while my mother's tumor grew another centimeter. 60 days. That's how long we had before the bank took our house. The house in 3rd Ward where my brother Marcus taught me to ride a bike. The house where my grandmother made kimchi every Sunday before she died. So yes, my shoes were falling apart. But that didn't mean I was. "Your order, sir?" I asked in English, polite, professional, the voice of a woman who needed this job. Min-jun finally looked at me. His eyes were dark, cold, the kind of eyes that had seen things most people only read about in crime reports. He studied my face for a moment, then smirked. He spoke again in Korean, rapid, condescending, using dialect structures I was absolutely not supposed to understand. "Bring the bulgogi. Make sure the meat is fresh, not the recycled garbage you serve the Americans. And more water, filtered, not tap. I can always taste the difference even if your little brain can't." He sat back, satisfied. His men grinned. They were waiting for me to stammer, to ask him to repeat himself, to expose myself as exactly what they assumed I was, an ignorant American who didn't belong in their world. I clicked my pen, and I answered him in Korean. Not textbook Korean, not the broken phrases tourists learn from apps. I spoke in the Gyeongsang dialect, the old dialect, the one my grandmother taught me on summer nights in Busan, the one that rich families use to separate themselves from common people. "Your bulgogi will be fresh, the water will be filtered, but your assumption that these ears don't understand your tongue," I tilted my head slightly, "that will cost you more than this meal ever could." Silence. Complete, absolute silence. The man with the dragon watch stopped mid-laugh. His hand froze on his glass. Min-jun's smirk vanished. For 3 full seconds, nobody moved. Then I continued, my voice calm as ice water. "In my grandmother's country, men who mistake silence for ignorance often discover their tongues have written checks their power cannot cash. Your food is coming. Your respect, however, must be earned." I tucked my notepad into my apron. "And so far, sir, you have earned nothing from me but patience." I turned and walked toward the kitchen. 23 steps. I could feel his eyes burning into my back the entire way. But I didn't look back, because Seo Min-jun had just made the biggest mistake of his life. He thought I was just a waitress. He had no idea what I really was, or why I'd been waiting for him. If you've ever been satisfied because of how you look, you know exactly how that moment felt. But here's what you don't know. She didn't learn Korean just to impress customers. She learned it for him. And the reason why? That's where the story gets dark. Subscribe now, because what she's hiding will change everything. And if you're not subscribing, drop a comment telling me why. I want to know. I made it to the kitchen before my hands started shaking. You good? Chef Yoon looked up from the grill. 63 years old, built like a retired boxer. He'd owned Hanok Seoul for 30 years and owed Min Jun's family more money than he'd ever admit. Fine, I lied. You don't look fine. You look like you just poked a tiger. He had no idea. I grabbed a pitcher of filtered water and 4 clean glasses, checked them twice for spots. Then I loaded everything onto a tray and walked back out. Min Jun hadn't moved, but his energy had completely shifted. The arrogance was gone. In its place was something I hadn't expected. Curiosity. "Come here," he said as I set down the water. "Not a request, a command. I have other tables. They can wait." He gestured to the edge of the booth. "Sit." "I'm working." He slid a $100 bill across the table. "Now you're consulting. Sit." I shouldn't have. Every instinct told me to walk away. But this was what I needed. Access, proximity, the chance I'd been waiting 11 months for. I sat. Min Jun studied me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. "You're Korean. That accent. That's not Hagwon Korean. That's not Language App Korean." "No, it isn't. Gyeongsang dialect, old Busan aristocracy." His eyes narrowed. "Who taught you?" "My grandmother, Park Soon-yi. She married an American soldier in 1962. I spent every summer in Seoul until I was 18. Something flickered across his face. Recognition? I couldn't tell. "Park Soon-yi," he repeated slowly. "From Haeundae. You know the family?" He didn't answer. Instead, he leaned back and switched to English. "What's your name? Your full name?" "Imani Carter." The man with the dragon watch, the one who'd mocked my shoes, suddenly went rigid. "Boss," he said quietly, too quietly. "I've seen her before." Min Jun raised one eyebrow. "Where?" The man's jaw tightened. He was staring at me now with different eyes. Not amusement. Something darker. "I don't remember, but I know that face." Min Jun turned back to me. "Carter. That name. It's familiar." My heart hammered. This was the moment. The edge of the cliff. I could lie, make up a story, protect myself, or I could do what I came here to do. I said, my voice didn't waver. "My brother was Marcus Carter." The temperature at the table dropped 10 degrees. "Marcus Carter," Min Jun repeated. "The warehouse, 2 years ago." "The warehouse," I confirmed. "Where he died, where your people killed him." Silence. The bodyguards tensed. Hands moved toward waistbands, but Min Jun raised one finger. Just one, and everyone froze. He looked at me for a long moment. His expression was unreadable. Then he said something I didn't expect. "Your brother wasn't killed by my people, Imani." I laughed, bitter, sharp. "The police report says otherwise." "The police report says what we wanted it to say." He leaned forward, his voice dropping. "Your brother died in that warehouse. So did mine. Same night, same bullet." The world tilted. "What?" "My younger brother, Se Jin-woo. He was 26. Min Jun's jaw tightened. "He died next to Marcus Carter, and I've spent 2 years trying to find out who killed them both." She spent 2 years believing this man murdered her brother. Now he's telling her they were both victims. Is he lying? Or is there something much bigger going on? If you need to know the truth, subscribe now, because what she discovers next will destroy everything she thought she knew. Drop a comment. Do you believe him? I stared at him. Every instinct screamed that this was a trick, a manipulation, the kind of lie powerful men tell to keep their enemies confused. But something in his eyes. It looked like grief. Real grief. "You're lying," I said. "I'm not. My brother was a logistics coordinator. He was trying to start a legitimate shipping company. He had nothing to do with your world." "I know." Min Jun reached into his jacket and pulled out his phone. He scrolled for a moment, then turned the screen toward me. A photograph. Two young men standing outside a warehouse, one Korean wearing a casual blazer and a hopeful smile, one black in a polo shirt and khakis. Marcus, my brother, standing next to a man I'd never seen. "That's Jin-woo," Minjun said quietly, "my younger brother. This photo was taken 3 weeks before they both died." I couldn't breathe. "They were partners," Minjun continued. "Your brother had logistics experience. Jin-woo had capital. They were building a legitimate freight company together. Clean money, legal operation. Marcus never told me. Because Jin-woo made him promise not to. Our family's reputation," he paused. Marcus knew that being connected to the Say name could put a target on his back. So they kept it quiet. The man with the dragon watch, Minjun had called him Tae-young, shifted uncomfortably. "Boss, maybe we shouldn't discuss this here." "Be quiet." Minjun's voice was ice. He didn't even look at Tae-young. His eyes stayed locked on mine. "If they were partners," I said slowly, "if they were building something legitimate, why are they dead?" "Because someone didn't want them to succeed." Minjun's jaw tightened. "Someone inside my organization. Someone who was profiting from things Jin-woo wanted to expose." "What things?" "Trafficking. Human trafficking through the port. $40 million a year, Jin-woo found out. He was going to shut it down." My stomach turned. "And Marcus?" "And Marcus had the shipping connections, the documentation, the evidence." Minjun's hands clenched on the table. Together, they were going to bring the whole operation down, go to the FBI, burn it all. "So someone burned them first?" "Yes." I looked at the photograph again. Marcus's smile, the hope in his eyes. He'd died trying to do something good. And I'd spent 2 years blaming the wrong man. "Who?" My voice cracked. "Who ordered it?" "That's what I've been trying to find out." Minjun took his phone back. "For 2 years, I've been hunting a ghost. Someone inside my inner circle. Someone I trust." His eyes moved briefly, just for a second, toward Tae-young. Then back to me. "I need help, Imani. I need someone they don't suspect. Someone they've already dismissed as harmless." "You want me to spy for you?" "I want you to help me find the man who killed our brothers." He leaned forward. "And in return, I'll help you." "Help me how?" "Your mother's treatment, the immunotherapy, $200,000. I froze. "How do you know about—" "I know everything." His voice was steady. "I know about the insurance denial. I know about the foreclosure. 60 days, right? $52,000 or you lose the house." My hands were shaking. "I can make it all go away," Minjun said. "Tonight, 1 phone call." "And what's the catch?" He smiled. But it wasn't a warm smile. It was the smile of a predator who just spotted prey. "The catch is you stay close to me, very close, because whoever killed our brothers is still out there, and if they find out you're Marcus Carter's sister—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. I went home that night and didn't sleep. The bills were still spread across the kitchen table, medical statements, collection notices, the foreclosure warning with its red capital letters, "Final Notice." $183,000 in debt. 60 days to save the house. And my mother, upstairs, sleeping in the same bed where she'd held Marcus as a baby, where she'd sung him lullabies, where she'd collapsed when the police came to tell her he was dead. I picked up the photograph on the counter. Marcus at his college graduation, cap and gown, that big, ridiculous smile. "What did you get yourself into?" I whispered. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I knew who it was before I answered. "Have you decided?" Minjun's voice was calm, like he was asking about dinner plans. "I have questions first." Ask. If I do this, if I help you, how do I know you won't turn on me when you get what you want? You don't. He was honest, I had to give him that. But ask yourself this: what do I gain by betraying you? You're not a threat to me. You're not connected to my enemies. You're just a woman who wants answers. And what do you gain by helping me? Fresh eyes, someone they won't see coming. A pause. And perhaps someone who understands what it's like to lose a brother. I closed my eyes. This was insane. Working with a mafia boss, infiltrating a criminal organization, one wrong move and I'd end up like Marcus, a body in a warehouse, a lie on a police report. But what was my alternative? Watch my mother die slowly because insurance companies decided her life wasn't worth saving? Let the bank take everything we had left. Spend the rest of my life wondering who really killed Marcus and why. I want everything in writing, I said. The treatment, the house, all of it. Done. And I want access, full access, to your files, your people, your operation. If I'm doing this, I do it right. Agreed. One more thing. I gripped the phone tighter. If I find out you're lying to me, if I find out you were involved in Marcus's death, I will destroy you. I don't care how powerful you are, I'll burn your entire world to the ground. Silence. Then, soft and almost amused, I believe you would. Do we have a deal? We have a deal. His voice shifted, warmer, almost human. The money will be in your mother's treatment account by morning. A car will pick you up at noon. Wear something professional. Why? Because tomorrow, Imani Carter, you become my new translator and the most dangerous woman in Houston. The line went dead. I set down my phone. My hands were steady now. For 2 years, I'd been drowning, grieving, surviving. Tonight, I'd made a deal with the devil, but at least now I had a chance to fight. She just agreed to work with a mafia boss to find her brother's killer. Most people would say that's crazy. Most people would run. But most people haven't watched their mother get a death sentence from an insurance company. Most people haven't lost everything. Would you have taken the deal? Be honest. Subscribe if you need to see what happens next. And comment below. Did she make the right choice, or did she just sign her own death warrant? 2 weeks into our arrangement, I learned 3 things about Seo Min-jun. 1. He never raised his voice. The angrier he got, the quieter he became. His men feared his silence more than other bosses' screams. 2. He ate the same thing every morning. Black coffee, rice, kimchi his grandmother made before she died. He kept it frozen and rationed it like medicine. 3. He watched me when he thought I wasn't looking. My official title was Cultural Liaison. In practice, I sat in meetings, translated documents, and pretended not to notice when conversations turned to things that would keep federal prosecutors busy for years. Today's meeting was in Min-jun's office, 20th floor of a building in Midtown. Glass walls, a view of the Houston skyline that cost more than my entire debt. 6 men sat around the table, all Korean, all staring at me like I was a stain on their expensive suits. Tae-young was the worst. Why does the boss trust an outsider? He didn't bother hiding his contempt. An American, a woman. Because I speak 4 languages and you barely manage 2, I replied in Korean. Someone at the table snorted. Tae-young's eyes narrowed. Watch yourself. You're only here because Min-jun allows it. That protection can disappear. Enough. Min-jun's voice cut through the tension. Quiet, final. She's under my protection. Disrespect her again and you disrespect me. Tae-young held my gaze for a long moment. Then he leaned back. And that's when I saw it. His watch. Custom made. gold and black and coiled around the face, etched in delicate detail. A dragon. My blood turned to ice. Marcus's voicemail, the one I'd listened to 100 times, the one that haunted my sleep. "There's a guy here with a crazy watch, dragon design. Something's wrong, Manny. I think I walked into something bad." The message cut off 4 hours before he died, and now I was staring at that watch, on the wrist of Seo Min-jun's most trusted soldier. I forced myself to breathe, forced my face to stay neutral. Tai Young wasn't just suspicious of me because I was an outsider. He was suspicious because he knew exactly who I was. He was at that warehouse. He killed my brother. And he was sitting 3 feet away, smiling at me like we were colleagues. The meeting continued. Numbers, shipments, territory disputes. I didn't hear any of it. All I could see was that dragon. All I could hear was Marcus's voice. "Something's wrong, Manny." When the meeting ended, Min-jun asked me to stay behind. "You went pale," he said, once the others had left. "In the middle of the meeting. Why?" I couldn't tell him. Not yet. If I accused Tai Young without proof, he'd deny everything. Worse, he'd know I was on to him, and I'd end up like Marcus. "Just tired," I lied. "I'm not used to the schedule yet." Min-jun studied me. I couldn't tell if he believed me. "Go home," he said finally. "Rest. Tomorrow we review the shipping records from 2 years ago." The shipping records. From the month Marcus died. "I'll be ready," I said. I walked out of that office with my head high and my heart screaming. The man who murdered my brother was Min-jun's best friend, and I was going to destroy him. That night, I sat in my apartment and listened to Marcus's voicemail for the 101st time. "Hey, Manny, it's me. Listen, I'm at this warehouse meeting. Jinwoo's here. We're supposed to finalize the shipping contracts tonight." His voice was casual at first, normal. Then it changed. "Wait, there's someone else here. I don't recognize them. There's a guy with this crazy watch, dragon design, like custom or something. Hold on." Muffled voices, movement. "Something's wrong. Jinwoo looks scared. I think we walked into something bad. I'm going to try to—" Static. Then nothing. 4 hours later, Marcus was dead. Car accident, the police said. Single vehicle, lost control, no witnesses. I knew it was a lie the moment I saw his body. My brother didn't drink, didn't speed, didn't take risks. But I had no proof, no evidence, nothing except a voicemail and a description of a watch I couldn't trace. Until now. I pulled up my laptop and started searching. Kwon Tai Young, 41 years old, born in Incheon, came to the U.S. at 19, official occupation, security consultant. Real occupation, Min-jun's right hand for 20 years. But here's what caught my attention. 3 years ago, Tai Young bought a building in Galveston, cash purchase, no mortgage. The same month, the trafficking operation Min-jun described would have been starting to ramp up. Then I found something else. A company registered in Delaware, Shell Corporation. Director, K. Tae. The company owned 6 shipping containers at the port of Houston, the same containers that were flagged in the documents Min-jun showed me, containers linked to suspicious shipments the month Marcus died. My hands were shaking. It wasn't just that Tai Young was at the warehouse. He was running the entire trafficking operation. He was the ghost Min-jun had been hunting for 2 years, and he was hiding in plain sight, 3 feet from the boss, pretending to be loyal while counting his millions. I saved everything. Screenshots, links, timestamps. Then I copied it all to a secure server. If something happened to me, this evidence would go straight to the FBI, to the Chronicle, to everyone who needed to see it. But first, I needed more. I needed Min-jun to believe me, and I needed to get Tae-young to confess. My phone buzzed. Min-jun. I found something in the shipping records. You need to see this. My place, 1 hour. I grabbed my jacket. 1 hour. In 1 hour, everything would change. She knows who killed her brother. She has the evidence. But the killer is best friends with the man she's working for. One wrong move and she's dead. What would you do? Would you tell Min-jun and risk everything? Or would you handle it yourself? This is where the story gets dangerous. Subscribe now because what happens next will leave you speechless. And comment, should she tell Min-jun or keep investigating alone? Min-jun's penthouse was everything you'd expect from a man who controlled half of Houston's underworld. River Oaks, 23rd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows, a view that made the city look like it belonged to him. Because it did. Look at this. He spread documents across the glass table. Shipping manifests, financial records. The containers that Jinwoo flagged 2 years ago, someone moved them 3 days before he died, rerouted to a different port. Who authorized the move? That's the problem. The authorization code traces back to me. His jaw tightened. Someone used my personal systems. That's a very short list. 3 people. My accountant, dead, heart attack last year. My head of security, been with my family since my father's time. He paused. And Tae-young. My heart stopped. You suspect Tae-young? I don't want to. He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw something vulnerable in his eyes. He's been my brother in everything but blood. We grew up together. He saved my life twice. But he's the only one with both the access and the opportunity. Min-jun sat down heavily, and there are things that don't add up. Money that moves without explanation, meetings he takes alone, the way he pushed to close the investigation into Jinwoo's death. This was my chance. Min-jun, I sat across from him. I need to tell you something about the night Marcus died. He looked at me. I left me a voicemail just before it happened. I pulled out my phone. I've listened to it 1,000 times. I never understood what he was describing until today. I played the message. Marcus's voice filled the room. There's a guy with this crazy watch, dragon design. Min-jun's face went pale. Stop it. I stopped. A dragon watch, he said slowly. Tae-young has a dragon watch, custom. He's worn it for as long as I've known him. I know. I saw it in the meeting today. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. You're saying Tae-young was at the warehouse that night. I'm saying Marcus saw him, described him, and 4 hours later, Marcus was dead. Min-jun stood, walked to the window. His reflection stared back at him, a man watching his entire world crack apart. 20 years. He said quietly. 20 years I trusted him, and he killed my brother. I found more. I showed him my laptop, the shell company, the shipping containers, the financial trail. He's been running the trafficking operation this whole time, using your name, your credentials, making millions while you hunted a ghost. Min-jun didn't move, didn't speak. Then he turned, and the look in his eyes was something I'd never seen before. Not anger, devastation. He was my family, Imani. I know. I stood, walked toward him, and he killed yours, just like he killed mine. We stood there, inches apart, 2 people shattered by the same betrayal. What do we do? I asked. We make him confess, on record, then we end this. How? Before he could answer, the window exploded. Glass erupted into the room like 1,000 razors. Minjun grabbed me, pulled me to the floor, covered my body with his. Bullets tore through the penthouse. 1, 2, 3. The third one hit him. I felt him jerk, felt warm blood against my arm. Minjun! Stay down. He pressed me into the floor. His shoulder was bleeding, but his arm stayed locked around me. Then sirens, distant but approaching. The shooting stopped. Silence. Minjun rolled off me. His face was gray with pain. Someone knew, he breathed. Someone knew we were getting close. I looked at his wound through the window at the city lights below. Tae-young. This had his fingerprints all over it. He's trying to kill us. No. Minjun struggled to his feet. He's trying to kill you. You're the only one who can connect him to that voicemail. My blood ran cold. I wasn't just hunting Tae-young anymore. He was hunting me. 30 minutes later, the penthouse was swarming with Minjun's men. I pressed gauze to his shoulder while one of his soldiers called a private doctor. No hospitals. Hospitals meant questions. Questions meant police. Police meant complications. The irony wasn't lost on me. "You need stitches," I said. "I've had worse." His face was pale, but his voice was steady. "The bullet went through. No major damage." "You got lucky." "Luck had nothing to do with it." He looked at me. "If you hadn't shown me that evidence tonight, if I'd gone to bed not knowing, that bullet would have been in my head." The door opened. Tae-young walked in. My entire body went rigid. He surveyed the damage, glass everywhere, bullet holes in the walls, Minjun bleeding on the couch. And his face was perfect, shocked, concerned, every inch the loyal soldier rushing to protect his boss. "What happened?" He crossed the room. "Boss, I came as soon as I heard. Who did this?" Minjun didn't answer. He just looked at Tae-young. A long, heavy look. "I don't know yet," Minjun said finally, "but I intend to find out. I'll double security, run the surveillance footage, we'll find whoever—" "The footage has already been pulled," Minjun said, his voice ice. "And wiped. 30 minutes before the attack, someone with high-level access deleted it." Tae-young's mask slipped, just for a second, a flicker of something behind his eyes. Fear? Calculation? Then it was gone. "That's impossible. Only 4 people have that access." "I know." Minjun stood slowly. "You, me, Park, and my accountant who died last year. You can't think I don't think anything yet." Minjun walked towards him, slow, deliberate. "But I will. I have resources, Tae-young, patience, and a very strong motivation to learn the truth." They stood face to face, 2 men who'd known each other for 20 years. One hiding a secret, one unraveling it. "Whatever you need, boss." Tae-young's voice was steady. "I'm here for you, like always." "I know you are." Minjun turned away. Dismissal. Tae-young left. The moment the door closed, Minjun exhaled. His whole body seemed to sag. "He knows we suspect him," I said quietly. "Yes." "That makes him more dangerous." "Yes." He turned to me. "Which is why you're not going home tonight." "I can handle myself." "I don't doubt it, but Tae-young has resources, men, a 20-year head start on understanding how I operate." He moved closer. "You stay here, under my protection, until this is finished." I should have argued, should have insisted on my independence. But I remembered that bullet, 3 inches from my head, and I thought about my mother, alone in that house, counting on me to survive. "Fine, but I'm not hiding in a corner while you hunt him." "I wouldn't expect you to." Something shifted in his expression. Softer, almost warm. "We started this together, we finish it together." He reached out. His hand covered mine, and for a moment, just a moment, I forgot about revenge, about Tae-young, about everything except the way his eyes looked in the dim light. "Together," I agreed. The killer is inside the house. He knows they're onto him, and now he's hunting them. This is where most people would run. Would you? Or would you stay and fight? If you've come this far, you're already invested. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications, because the confrontation is coming, and you do not want to miss it. We set the trap 2 days later. Min-jun called a meeting at a warehouse on the east side, the same warehouse where Marcus and Jin-woo died. Poetic justice, I thought, or a death wish. Either way, I was ready. I'd spent 48 hours preparing, the evidence uploaded to 3 separate secure servers, Detective Rosalind Pierce at HPD briefed and standing by, and a journalist at the Chronicle with an encrypted file but would auto-send if I didn't check in every 6 hours. If I died tonight, Tae-young would burn. But I didn't plan to die. The warehouse was empty when we arrived. Concrete floors, rusted beams, the smell of salt and rust and something older, something that might have been blood. Marcus died here. I could feel it. "He'll come," Min-jun said. "I told him I found evidence connecting the attack to an outside crew. He'll want to control the narrative." 20 minutes later, the door opened. Tae-young walked in, alone, which meant his men were outside, surrounding the building. This was it. "Boss," Tae-young's voice was casual, "what did you find?" "Close the door." He did. Min-jun walked toward him, slow, measured. "I found everything, Tae-young. The Skell companies, the containers, the 40 million a year you've been skimming through the trafficking operation." Tae-young's face didn't change. "And I found this." Min-jun held up his phone. The voicemail played through the speakers. Marcus's voice. "There's this guy with this crazy watch, dragon design." Silence. Then Tae-young smiled. Not a nervous smile, the smile of a man who was done pretending. "I always wondered if he'd mention the watch. I should have taken it off that night, but I was proud of it. Custom made, one of a kind." "You murdered them." "I eliminated threats," Tae-young's voice hardened. "Jin-woo was going to destroy everything. The trafficking operation brings in 40 million a year. You think the elders would let 2 idealistic boys shut it down? I protected the family. I protected you. You murdered my brother. I saved your empire." Min-jun's hand moved toward his waistband. Tae-young was faster. His gun was out, pointed at Min-jun's chest. "I didn't want it to end this way, boss. 20 years. You were like family." He shook his head. "But she ruined everything." He turned the gun toward me. "You should have stayed a waitress, Imani." I didn't flinch. "You should have checked my pockets, Tae-young." I held up my phone. Recording, live streaming to 3 different servers. "Everything you just said is already uploaded. Detective Pierce has it, the FBI has it, and in about 30 seconds, every news outlet in Texas will have it too." Tae-young's face went white. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" I stepped forward. "My brother didn't die so you could buy more buildings in Galveston. He died trying to do something good, and I have spent 2 years waiting for this moment." I gestured to the shadows behind us. Figures emerged. 6 of Min-jun's most loyal men, the ones Tae-young didn't control. "Your men outside?" I smiled. "Already detained. Detective Pierce has high." Tae-young looked around, trapped, surrounded. Everything he'd built crumbling in seconds. "You can't do this," he snarled. "I know things about the organization, about you. I'll make deals." "You'll make nothing." Min-jun's voice was ice. "Take him." The men moved. Tae-young fought, screamed, threatened. It didn't matter. Within minutes, he was restrained, dragged out of the warehouse. Gone. The same warehouse where he'd killed Marcus. The same warehouse where justice finally arrived. I stood in the silence, shaking, not from fear, from relief. "It's over," Minjun said quietly. "No." I turned to face him. "It's not." 3 months later, I sat in my mother's room at MD Anderson. The monitors beeped softly, afternoon sunlight streamed through the window, and for the first time in 2 years, Mama looked like herself. The scans came back clear. She was still crying, happy tears. "The tumor is shrinking. They said the immunotherapy is working." "I told you," I squeezed her hand. "You're too stubborn to die." "I get that from your grandmother," she laughed. "Weak, but real. And from you." We sat in comfortable silence, the kind that only exists between people who've survived the worst together. "You look different, baby," Mama said finally. "Lighter, like you finally put down something you've been carrying." I did. I thought of Marcus, of the warehouse, of Tai Young's face when they dragged him away. I finally let Marcus rest. "Good," she patted my hand. "He wouldn't want you carrying that weight forever. He'd want you to live." A knock at the door. I turned. Se Min-jun stood in the doorway. His arm was out of the sling now. He carried peonies, my grandmother's favorite, and he looked nervous in a way I'd never seen before. Mama's eyes went wide. "Imani, who is this man?" I smiled. "It's complicated, Mama." He stepped inside, bowed properly, the kind of bow that shows respect for elders. "Mrs. Carter," he said, "it's an honor. Your daughter is the most remarkable woman I've ever known." Mama looked at him, then at me, then back at him. "Sit down," she commanded. "Tell me everything." He sat. He talked. He answered her questions with patience and honesty, and Mama watched us together with knowing eyes. Later, in the hallway, Min-jun and I stood by the window overlooking the medical center. Tai Young took a plea deal, life without parole. The trafficking operation is dismantled. The elders who backed him are no longer a problem. "And you?" "Restructuring, going legitimate." He turned to face me. "It's what Jinwoo wanted, what Marcus wanted, what I should have done years ago." "That's a big change." "It is." He stepped closer. "But I need someone I trust beside me. Someone who isn't afraid to tell me when I'm wrong. Someone who walked into a restaurant 11 months ago and changed everything." "Are you offering me a job, Mr. Seo?" "I'm offering you a partnership." His eyes held mine, in every sense of the word. My heart hammered. 11 months ago, I put on that apron looking for revenge. I never expected to find this. I spent 2 years believing revenge would heal me, that destroying you would bring Marcus back. But it wasn't revenge that set me free. It was the truth. I reached up, touched his face. And sometimes the person you're meant to find isn't hiding from you. They're standing right in front of you, just as broken, just as hungry for something real. He leaned down. His lips brushed mine. Soft, questioning. I answered. When we pulled apart, he was smiling, that rare smile I'd only seen a handful of times. "There's one more thing," he said. "What?" "The elders who ordered the hit on our brothers, Tai Young wasn't the top. He was following orders." Minjun's jaw tightened. Someone above him, someone still out there, wanted them dead. My blood chilled. "Then it's not over." "No." He took my hand. "It's just beginning." I looked at him. This man I was supposed to hate. This man I was learning to love. This man who might be the most dangerous thing that ever happened to my heart. "Then we finish it together." He nodded, and for the first time in 2 years, I wasn't afraid of what came next. I was ready. She walked into that restaurant looking for revenge. She found justice, she found love, and she found a war that's just getting started. If this story kept you until the end, you're exactly who this channel is for. Subscribe, hit the bell, because Imani's story continues, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Now tell me, do you trust Se Min-jun, or is Imani walking into another trap? Comment below and share this with someone who needs to know that the quietest woman in the room is usually the most dangerous. Until next time.